Galnet News Digest, 20th of April, 3307. We read the news so you don't have to.
In this week's news, stuffed with greenery.
The ultimate question of life.
Insufficient genetic diversity.
Stuffed with greenery.
The Odyssey galaxy simulator has been trialling new ways of finding new life and new vegetable plots, and boldly scanning where no wearer of a trendy white and orange Artemis Explorer suit has scanned before.
But it hasn't all been plain sailing. The detailed surface scanner has been correctly identifying that the part of the planet with geology is all of it. But that's not, apparently, what fussy commanders want. What these fair weather explorers want is for the scanner to point them to the bits of the planet with interesting geology, which means geology that moves, geology that issues fire or steam, and generally geology that's different from the geology of all the boring bits of the planet.
And yes, we know that the origin of the word geology refers specifically to the planet Earth. But if you think we're going to start talking about Adityan C12-3-ology, well, you're just plain wrong.
The Pilots Federation has attempted to improve the operation of the so-called heat map that the detailed surface scanner creates. There's apparently now a reasonable possibility that one of the many colours displayed may well indicate the actual location of some of the biology. However, no one yet knows which of the colours means it's over here, and which means close but no weird-looking space conch here.
The geology problems remain, if not intractable, at least yet not successfully tracted, and many planets will remain, for the foreseeable future, a uniform shade of unhelpful green. The ultimate question of life.
The densely packed environment of the galaxy simulation has meant that new species that in the real galaxy might be separated by thousands of light years of nothing much of interest are instead placed cheek by jowl in splendid profusion. And just as the discovery of the diversity of life on the Galapagos archipelago led the pioneering beard-wearer Charles Darwin to formulate some interesting ideas about how life came to look like it does, or at least did until World War III nearly eradicated life on the Galapagos Islands, a process of extermination that was completed shortly afterwards by the rising sea levels, the diversity, or rather lack of it, on the planets in the galaxy simulator have led some to question just how the life got there in the first place.
Having surveyed far and wide, the expectation is generally that there might be a dozen different types of plant in the galaxy. Perhaps a few more, perhaps a little less. And we're being generous with the term plant. There are space funguses, space grass, space loofahs, space coconuts with spiky bits coming out, giant space table tennis bats with lots of holes in, and, most exciting of all, space patches of slimy but otherwise featureless bacteria. And despite minor differences from one planet to another, they're basically all the same everywhere.
So, is this some really, really strong evidence for parallel evolution on a galactic scale? Was Fred Hoyle, the brilliant but controversial astronomer, right when he claimed that life on planets has come from space, distributed on asteroids and interstellar particles? Could these plants have been deliberately seeded by the Thargoids, or perhaps by the Guardians, long before humanity existed, let alone attempted to leave Earth?
Some radical creationist thinkers believe that the galaxy, and all the life in it, was created by an art department working in a fenny part of planet Earth. But of course, that flies in the face of all scientific rationalism and must be discounted out of hand by all right-thinking commanders.
Insufficient genetic diversity. Commanders who have braved the green planet of death, and who have made their way down to the surface, and who have found some form of exciting new biology, and who have had the foresight to equip themselves with the Artemis suit, which is the only one with a pocket large enough to hold the Dyson scanner, the genetic sampling and genomic analysis device that allows plant life to be discovered, have been almost uniform in their praise of the operation of this complex piece of equipment. The blast ring image generation mechanism used by the Dyson scanner requires required an unusual amount of manual skill to operate, and commanders have been keen to show off their prowess in using this complicated piece of technology.
So imagine everyone's shock when the Pilots Federation announced that it had decided unilaterally to automate completely the operation of the Dyson scanner using technology known as computers. These fiendishly clever computers are capable of taking all the drudgery and skill out of all manner of pursuits. Supercruise flight and docking have already been dealt with by these clever little gadgets, and scanning alien life forms seems to be next on the list for the forward march of modern technology.
There has been a veritable wailing and gnashing of teeth by skilled operators of the Dyson scanner. A range of lime green baseball caps with the Insufficient genetic diversity slogan, celebrating one of the key features of the Mark I Dyson scanner, is being worn by fans of the device as part of the campaign to return to the era before computers, when machinery was simpler and easier to understand, if not necessarily to operate.
But, like the saboteurs, who really never did throw wooden clogs into industrial machinery, there's nothing that can be done to bring back the craft culture of yesterweek. A few sad souls have begged for a skill-based manual matching process to replace the existing rhythm method of sampling biology. But the 20-sided die of fate has been cast, and the natural one of inevitability has decreed that there is insufficient time left to do anything other than have a point-and-click approach to biology.
Commanders everywhere are now hoping the Pilots Federation will create a Dyson Mark I Tamagotchi toy to recreate the thrill of operating the 3 spinning ring splendour of the original manual Dyson scanner.
And that's this week's Biology News.
Galnet News. We scan the plant life so you don't have to. On the Galapagos nearly eradicated life on the Galapagos Islands. Galapagos Islands. The diversity of life on the Galapagos, the genetic sampling and genomic